So here's a quick review of how to do the questions from lessons 3.2 and 3.3. So here's one of the problems on the page. It's problem number 11. And what's going to happen here is that you need to go ahead and combine like terms to begin with. So whenever you have the very first step you should always do is look on the same side if you can combine anything. So I can combine these two things. It's going to be 13t minus 10t. That's going to end up being 3t. I still have the minus 7 is equal to 2. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 7 to both sides because now it's just a two-step equation. So it's going to be 3t is equal to 9. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And what I'm left with is I'm left with t is equal to 3. I can plug that back into here and end up with 39 minus 7. That's going to be 32. 32 minus 30 is going to give me 2, so that's the correct answer. So here we have another problem. In this case here, I'm going to have to distribute the 4 to the stuff inside the parentheses first. That's always going to be the first step. So here we go. 4 times x is going to be 4x, because remember it's 4 times 1x. 4 times 5 is going to be 20. That's going to be equal to 16. Now it's just a two-step equation. Got to subtract 20 from both sides. Left with 4x is equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by 4. And left with x is equal to negative 1. If I plug that back into the equation up here, going to see negative 1 plus 5, that's going to be 4. 4 times 4 is 16, so it's correct. Another problem here where I've got to go ahead and distribute. In this case here, I've got to distribute the 3 to the m and the subtract 17. So it's going to be 12 is equal to 3 times m, that's 3m, minus 3 times 17, that's going to be 51. Now it's just a regular old two-step equation. So this is going to be plus 51 plus 51. It's going to be 63 is equal to 3m. Divide both sides by 3. I'm left with m. M is going to be equal to 21. If I plug that in back up here again, I got 21 minus 17, that's 4. 4 times 3 is going to be 12. Here's the last one for lesson 3.2. Here I got negative 5 times 2w, that's going to be negative 10w. Negative 5 times plus 1, so it's going to be plus negative 5. That's one way you can think about it. It's going to be 25. So I'm going to rewrite that a little bit. It's just going to be minus 5. That's the same thing. Now I got a two-step equation. You have to add 5 to both sides. End up with negative 10w is equal to 30. Get divide both sides by negative 10. And what I'm left with then is it's going to be w is equal to negative 3. So now we're moving on to 3.3, and on page 134, this is problem number 11. In this case here, the difference is that in this case we have variables on both sides. So in order to get rid of one of them, we need to move the variables all over to the same side. So we're going to have to either add or subtract one or the other one. And in this case here, we're going to have to subtract 1 to get to the other side. I'll show you what I mean by that. So here, 25u plus 74 is equal to 23u plus 92. So I'm going to subtract 23u from this side, because then the u's will be gone here. I'm going to subtract 23u from this side. So I'm then left with this. I'm left with 2u plus 74 is equal to 92. Now it's just a two-step equation. So here, subtract 74 from both sides. Get off with 2u is equal to 18. And then have to divide both sides by 2. I'm left with u is equal to 9. And that makes sense, because if I plug it in up here, this here is going to be, well, it's going to be 2u more, so I'm going to have to add 18 to that side, because it's 2u more than this. So 18 plus 74 is going to be equal to 92, so that makes sense. Here we're going to have to do some distributing, and then we'll have to go ahead and move things from one side to the other. So, and this is kind of a special case one too, so let's look closely. It's still going to be 25t. Got to get rid of the parentheses first, so it's going to be 25t, because 5 times 5t, plus 5 times 1, that's 5. So now I'm going to subtract 25t from both sides, because I got to move it over. Got to move them over so that they're on the same side. I'm left with then just this: 0 is equal to 5. That's never, ever, ever going to be true. So in this case here, there is no solution. There's no possible way that any number will work. In most cases, you'll end up with one solution when you're solving equations like this. Every so often you end up with no solutions, and then there's another case we'll go over in a minute. So in this case here, I've got to go ahead and distribute again. So it's going to be 7 times 2p, that's going to be 14p, plus 7 is equal to 14p plus 7. Got to subtract my 14p from both sides. What I'm left with is, I'm left with just 7 is equal to 7. That's going to be true all the time. And just like when you get rid of the variables in your equation and there's nothing for it to be equal to, if it's a true statement, then all numbers are a solution. If it's a false statement like the one before, then no solution exists. So one last one here, we got to do some distributing, and then we'll have to move some things around. So here I've got to go ahead and distribute this 2 into the stuff inside the parentheses. So it's going to be 2 times negative 4h, so it's going to be negative 8h, minus 2 times 13, it's going to be 26, is equal to 37 plus 13h. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the variables so they're on the same side. I don't like working with negative numbers if I don't have to, so I'm going to move this one over by adding 8h, because then this will cancel out. But I've got to add 8h to this side then too. Then what I'm left with is I'm left with negative 26 is equal to 37 plus 21h. Now it's just a two-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 37. And I'm going to be left with, well, this will be negative 63 is equal to 21h. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 21. And what I'm going to be left with is, I'm going to be left with negative 3 is equal to h. And that's it. That's the way you do these problems. Just take them slowly, go step by step, just do your best to follow through on them.